Hey everybody, this is Josh, and now we're going to take a look at the new Public Test Realm 2v2 ladder maps. This is 2v2 Test Map 1, and you'll notice that I made these AI allies similar colors so I could kind of see where they would spawn in relation to each other. So we have the two blue random AIs here spawning at the top left side of the map. It looks like you just have a pretty standard natural that has a ramp up a cliff and then no way down, so useful for Reapers and Blinkstalkers and Colossi, I guess, but not much else. Kind of an interesting entry point there. Reapers can hop right up there and be in your base, no problem. On the other side, you have a big fat ramp, and the third entry is actually more of a choke that you can actually block off against your enemies. This ramp looks like just a shared way to get some nice natural expansions here with your ally. And since I've been naming all the 1v1 maps, I might as well name this one. So I'll call it Space Party, because you're in a party with your teammate and you're in space. So that's that. Anyway, similar ramp here for the other ally, Automaton 2000. Always like to see him. And on Space Party, you have a single Xel'Naga tower here. Not sure how useful that would be. Actually, no, it looks like it covers both of these choke points, sort of like that 3v3 map that the name is eluding me, but it was the only 3v3 map in the beta, and I haven't actually played a ton of 3v3 since then, so I don't remember the name. But you can see both chokes with just a single Xel'Naga tower. There's one here in the middle. Let me take a look at that route here. So player one would have to walk. Yeah, it's pretty easy to get to. It's sort of wide open, except there's some visibility blocker here with the smoke. On the sides of the map, you have destructible debris where you can take a gold. That looks pretty ballsy and hard to hold in a 2v2 match if your enemies or your opponents are any good. Other than that, we've got a plausible third base here for pretty much every player. I would imagine that if I were the Terran in our building here, I would not want orange to get too cozy with me over here, so this might be hard to hold as well. Depends how bad you want that third, or if you're just the first one to build one. So this map looking pretty simple, actually. There's a couple of entrances into your base, but one is helped by a teammate, one you can watch with a Xel'Naga tower, no problem, and block off with a choke, and the last one is accessible only by ferrying units with Warp Prisms, Medivacs, etc., or even Reapers, Colossi, Blinkstalkers. So pretty well tucked in main, and a lot of room to build stuff, which you need in 2v2, because usually you mass like 100 of one unit and try and roll over the other team. Alright, blue player killing off an Overlord. So anyway, that was Space Party. Now let's take a look at the next one. Alright everybody, here we go into 2v2 Test Map 2. And it looks like it might be on the ice tile set. Did they actually introduce an ice tile set? No, it's the Xel'Naga Caverns tile set. And it looks like you are in a cave once again. So we're going to call this one Cave Party. Yay, Josh. Such good naming conventions, because you're in a party and you're in a cave. Anyway, what is this? Okay, so we've got a rather large main here. Nothing too crazy going on. And a little tiny ramp like basically any map with a little tiny ramp, Metalopolis, Lost Temple, etc. And there's no other entry point into your main except for flying, so that's pretty cool. There is a lot of cliff surface here that Reapers could try and get at, or Colossi. Ooh, gold base tucked right between you and your ally. Notice I made them similar colors again, so we could take a look at that. So it looks like you will always spawn with a gold base between you and your ally. You can choose who gets it. Otherwise, your natural is fairly wide open. Like you see on 3v3 and 4v4 maps a lot of times, just have those big wide open naturals. On the sides, you've got a Xel'Naga tower. Ooh, in the middle actually. You need to come up this ramp to actually get at the Xel'Naga tower with some visibility blockers there. And then on the sides, you have a plausible third. Actually, the gold base should be the third for one of your two players, and then you have a plausible third for the other player. Ooh, and another gold too. There's 4 gold locations on this map. That's quite a few for a 2v2 map. So you could actually be sneaky fast to double expand to 2 different gold bases and make a ton of dough. If you're Terran, you can mule that stuff up and get like a bajillion minerals, no problem. So it looks like the natural meeting place would be sort of right around here by the big fat ramp, and you would come up here, walk right through the middle, through the visibility blockers. No, you don't even need to do that. Don't need to go through the visibility blockers. That's just a gold base. You just pick opponent from there. Again, fairly simple map, and you can test it, of course, on the public test realm right now. It is 2v2 test map 2, or as I like to call it, Cave Party. Nothing really stands out much about this map. Seems to be pretty cut and dry. Big old main, big cliffs you have to defend, easy natural, easy gold that you can kind of debate with your partner who's going to take it, and other than that, looks to be pretty unimaginative. There's not a lot of destructible stuff on this map, just one on each side by these golds. Notice this, so this bottom right gold lends itself to the bottom left team, and the top left gold lends itself to the top right team because of those destructible rocks. But really, if you want to get their destructible rocks, it's not that hard to do with any sort of units, so could be hard to hold still. Either way, only 2 Xel'Naga towers here in the middle. You could hold one and your enemies could hold one. You could try to hold both and have a ton of map vision. Also get a view on this third base location. So there you go. That's Cave Party. Now let's go take a look at the next one. Okay, and while we're looking at the public test realm new ladder maps, the sneak peek at these ladder maps, this one looks very familiar actually. I think this one might be an existing one. Maybe they modified it a little bit, but I don't know the name of it anyway. So I'm going to call it... Maybe Sandstone Fiesta. You thought I was going to say party, but it is actually Sandstone Fiesta. Sandstone Fiesta, public test realm 2v2 map test number 3. You do have a shared base with your ally. Okay, maybe this isn't an existing one. I don't recognize it really. But, anyway, on Sandstone Fiesta, it looks like you have one destructible debris ramp where you can take a natural back here, and doesn't seem to be that protected. There is a visibility blocker for this tiny little square. That seems kind of strange. I'm not sure what you could put in there that would matter. I don't know, a sensor tower, but they would know where it is because you can see it on the minimap. Anyway, that seemed, other than that sort of strange feature, there's another fat ramp leading up to this base, so maybe you might be more comfortable just taking your natural here and being very close to your buddy's natural so that you can sort of co-defend. But then, of course, there are these side access points that your enemies could take advantage of, and you want to always be protecting that side anyway. So maybe you build a ton of bunkers and pylons and stuff over here just so you can have a view over there as well. So anyway, if you take this as your natural, you continue to move north, you move down another big fat ramp, and whoa, there's some goofy terrain, just a bunch of dead trees there in the middle. On the sides of the map, you've got a gold base with destructible debris and a Xel'Naga tower. This one seems to lend itself to the top spawn location, and the right side lends itself to the bottom spawn location, obviously, as that's where the ramp is, and there's no ramp on the other side. The middle of the map just has those weird dead trees, and then it's more big fat ramps on the other side. So, Sandstone Fiesta, pretty wide open. Like, if I had to use one word to describe it, wide open would be my choice. It reminds me of Xel'Naga Caverns, just kind of with how the terrain is and these big fat ramps kind of all over the place. Xel'Naga Caverns doesn't have that many big fat ramps, but it's got some. And this elevated side base makes me think of Xel'Naga Caverns as well, since, you know, those fourth base locations are kind of elevated. Xel'Naga Towers being right next to them is quite interesting. It means that you have some incentive to try and get your gold base quickly, so you can also get some map vision out of there. Interesting base design. I don't play a ton of 2v2. I don't know if you guys do either, but if you want to test these maps right now, they are on the public test realm. Check out Sandstone Fiesta. Now let's go look at the final remaining 2v2 test map. And here we go on the final 2v2 test map on the public test realm. There you can take a quick look at it on that minimap, and now we're in the game with 4 AI computers fighting each other. Okay, so player 1 looks like his main is pretty open, actually. It's very open from the top side, from Reaper or Colossi or Air. The left side and the right side are the only exit points. There's a tiny ramp down to a very easily defended natural, it appears. You can easily fortify this area, or even a smaller area right here next to your natural. And then they have to come up a tiny ramp to get to your main. The left side of the base, however, does have destructible rocks leading towards a plausible third base. And if you go down a couple more ramps, God, there's just a huge area outside of this main, like massive amounts of ground to cover for seemingly no reason. But basically all the action is going to take place in people's bases anyway. But this high yield is between your team and the other team, so you could have a little bit of combat over that. Again, easily defended naturals here, gold bases between your opponent and you, plausible third between your opponent and you, so this one could be pretty hard to defend. You only have this as an entry point though still, so it's really not even that bad. And then some terrain blocking you, not too much. Look how just gigantic this map is. Holy crap. Like this whole area right here, nothing. There's nothing here. No base, no terrain, just big wide open platform. So we're going to call this one, I cannot remember the French word for party. Fete? I think it's Fete. So we're going to call this Space Fete. No. Asteroide Fete. Asteroide Fete. L'asteroide Fete, like this. L'asteroide. I'm going to add an E because I'm not sure. Fete. There we go. And thus it was named. So our 2v2 maps were Space Party, Cave Party, Sandstone Fiesta, and L'asteroide Fete. Anyway, that has nothing to do with anything. Once you take a look at these Xel'Naga towers, you'll see that they're way far away from your base, but they do grant decent visibility. I don't think they actually reach this gold base, but you might be able to see the edge of some creep or something if a Zerg has taken that. In the middle, we have absolutely nothing. Once again, just giant open expanses that you can march your armies through. And then when you actually get to your enemy's base, it makes more sense to me to come up through this Erd and break down some rocks rather than try to fight off whatever defenses are at this natural and then try to go up the little tiny ramp into the main. So protect your rocks well, because that seems to actually be a much more valid point of entry for two full armies than this little tiny ramp, which can be blocked with a single force field. Also, you're gonna have to drop supply depots and pylons and things all along these cliffs, because medevacs could be dropped there, Reapers can hop up there, obviously Colossi and Blinkstalkers could do a lot of shenanigans there, and you just don't want that to happen. So that's it for L'asteroide Fete. It's got a good number of bases. You can take a second and a third base pretty easily. Then you can sort of fight with your opponent over these gold bases. I would not recommend taking it very quickly, though, since your opponent is probably going to be scouting through this lane anyway to get up to your little tiny ramp that is a million miles away from your own little tiny ramp. Jesus. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this little map preview from the public test realm. Once again, you can go check these maps out yourself on the public test realm for an unknown amount of time. I thought I would just do this preview video for people who are too lazy to check out the public test realm, as I usually am. So you are welcome. Please stick around. I'll be doing some regular casts and things as usual every single day. So thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys later.